Now, Elizabeth, let me ask you something about interleaving, okay? Because I think that interleaving is like, it's very counterintuitive. First, let me just say, interleaving is very counterintuitive. Now, your example right now is reasonable, okay? Let's say that I see like a worksheet named Pythagorean theorem, okay? So I have all these questions on the page. I apply one very simple rule about Pythagorean. I need to do it. How do you pronounce Pythagorean theorem?
That's pretty
You're pretty close. Pythagorean.
Pythagoras was the guy's name.
Yeah, Pythagoras. Okay. But if I don't know in advance how should, in what tool should I use, it's much harder. But I think that the most common or the most famous example regarding interleaving is about, painting styles, okay? This is what you gave, like painting style. Let's say that I give you like 10 images of Edward Manet, and then I give you 10 pictures of Picasso, and then I give you 10 pictures of Van Gogh, and then I say, okay, try to learn the painting style of the painter. And when you interleave those paintings, people report that the learning is much harder. People report using the metacognition, which is crap, that they learned much worse, but people perform much better. So could you explain me, and again, this is very counterintuitive, why if I show you an interleaved bunch of photos, it is better than I just show you, okay, this is Picasso, this is Picasso, this is Picasso, okay? Try to get the gist out of it. Okay, I know, I believe your studies, I believe your results, but could you please give me something to hold on?
Well, first of all, I should clarify for your audience that what you're talking about is what kind of system will increase your ability later when you see a new painting to say who painted it.
Yes.
You've studied, this is a painting you haven't seen before. So what's important is whether you've learned the style.
Yes, it's not a memory test. It's a truly understanding test. Yes. It's a very important type of learning. I mean, the painting's a good example, but for example, physicians who have to look at X-rays and diagnose whether there's a malignancy, they haven't seen this X-ray. This is new. This is a new patient. And so what happens I don't know that we ever did any experiment that gets cited so much, it's online so much, is when you see several paintings by one artist in a row, you have this strong sense, I get this, I'm getting it, this style. Yes, yes.
Feel like I'm getting it.
Well.
And then you change another one. Oh, I got this guy, all the pastels, this and that. And by contrast, when you interleave those same paintings task, people have this sense of, like they're almost jarred.
It's much harder to remember what was 2 paintings ago. So how does it possible? How? Could you just give me an explanation, a plausible explanation?
Yeah, I think, what it appears, our original work on this has triggered a huge amount of other work, is what interleaving does is to help you notice key differences among the painters rather than what's similar, because you may notice from seeing several paintings by one artist in a row, you may extract something about the use of pastels or whatever. That may not be diagnostic. When I'm later showing you paintings, that may not help you distinguish between that painter and someone else who uses a lot of pastels. But when they're interleaved, the reason this research got so much attention,
this is a nice explanation,
that the result is unintuitive to most of us. But also we happened after the final test where they had to say
what artist had painted each of a series of brand new paintings, we just kind of all just threw in this question at the end: what helped you learn better, having them interleaved or blocked? And what was just so amazing is the participants tended to learn substantially better over and over in different experiments from interleaving. But even after they performed better on this test of categorizing new paintings or new butterflies, or now it's been all sorts of new birds, when they're asked what helped you learn better, they still say blocking.
And this is part of what we said about metacognition. Now, this is the first time that I hear a plausible explanation. So that interleaving emphasizes the difference between different painting styles and not the similar.
Yes.
And the different might be more helpful when I want to distinguish between this painting style and this painting style.
Yes, and now when there's a new one, you've had to extract what distinguishes this painter from another. I mean, it's, it typically in this experiment, you see, whether interleaved or blocked, you see 4 or 5 paintings from a given painter.
This is great. This is the essence of this YouTube channel is I get to ask questions. It strikes me I think for the last 5 years, I get to ask, the scholars themselves. This is great. This is why I'm here. Now,
it's
Elizabeth,
amazing who all you've asked.
Now, when Bob talked about interleaving about different painting styles, and we interleave with there is a multiplication math problem and division math problem.
Right.
But how should interleaving practice should be far away? So it can be, we basically doing the same thing. We are doing different painting style, but I'm not going of one painting style and then learn French and then learn something else.
Right.
So for example, let's say that I'm a student and I want to learn to my exams. So I learn physics and I learn English and I learn history. Interleaving is inside the field of physics. Should I interleave the sub-subjects, or should I interleave, everything, like do 30 minutes acceleration and then go to history and then go to...
Yes, boy, we've sometimes said there's about
several different dissertations.
Multiple doctoral dissertations waiting to be done to answer. Even something what we've sometimes referred to as the chunk size. I mean, we know that it's not optimal for a student to do what they think is optimal. Namely, if they got a couple exams coming up, they think I'll spend all of this block of time working on this one course and all in the other. We know that's not optimal, but how often you should go back and forth, and even something as basic as,
and how far
should you interleave? Is it? This is so crucial to do. We almost wish we had a whole other career ahead of us. Should you interleave the things that are potentially confusable? So if there's things in physics and mathematics that people tend to, get confused about, should those be interleaved? You better say something. I got it.
Yeah, these are all one is what should the chunk size be? Like if I'm going to be interleaving different topics, how much time should I spend on topic A before I switch to topic B and then C and then back to A and so forth? We don't know the answer to that question, and it probably depends on the type of material. And another thing is, what you were getting at, what should the relationship be between these bodies of material that you're looking at?
But I think that I got an answer. So if we should interleave between confusable subjects, so I should interleave math and physics, I should interleave in anatomy. I should leave, the cardio and the vascular. but interleave between physics and history doesn't help you much. Would you
we don't know. We think they probably should be related for it to work the best.
We think, yeah, that it will help you. It'll be a desirable difficulty to try to sort out those possible confusions by interleaving them. And but I mean, it's it really is in some ways the most, you know, we've known about spacing effects for a long time. I mean, it's one of the most robust things.
Ever since Ebbinghaus.
Yes, I mean, if you want to start from beginning, it was there. And
anyway, one of my next question is related to Ebbinghaus and the spacing effect.
Yeah.
I can't prepare, I told you.
Good timing, yeah. But I mean, so we've known about the spacing effect, but teachers, this is for any teachers that might be watching. There have often been a reaction when we talk about just the power of spacing the repetitions of when you cover certain material. You know, there's been a reaction like, well, I can't, you know, I've got this material to cover. I can't have the students take the rest of the class doing some unrelated activity and whatever and come back. I've got to cover these topics. The important thing in that respect about interleaving, it's a way to create spacing, but in the same total time. That is, it doesn't take you more time as a teacher to cover material in an interleave fashion than it does block. It will probably, though, and this is a crucial thing for any teachers listening out there, it will probably lower the student ratings of your teaching to do interleaving.
At least for a while.
For a while.
Okay.
Once they learn, once they realize they're learning better.
I think that our education system, you know, there is like an external state exams in Israel, like it's called, you know, like it's not like the SAT, it's before, it's the national finals, yes, national finals, and the ministry and the Minister of Education decided this week to cancel many, I think all the humanities tests, just beside grammar, and give like not an external, it's going to be an internal in-school test. So our education system, I don't want to discuss. On this channel, you will see the authors of these books and many more having great conversations with me. Please subscribe, hit the bell button, and be part of this great community. See you in the next video.